Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's story is very interesting where OP is basically asking everyone whether she's the a-hole for not sharing her notes, which eventually led to another student failing. This is one of those special episodes where we actually have the point of view from the other student, so I hope you enjoy. I, a 21-year-old female, I'm currently in my second year of university. In January, it was time to submit our assignments. One assignment was a 4,000-word piece on a particular unit. This is 30% of our second year overall grade. R, a 20-year-old female, is in my course who failed to turn up to most of our lessons till about halfway through the term or towards the early mid-November due to quote-unquote a timetable error. She used the same reason back in our first year for other lessons. R had no clue what the assignment was. She approached myself, my friends, and some others in class for help during lesson. We kindly explained what we were meant to be doing. I stated that if she's worried about what she's meant to be doing, to talk to our lecturer and to maybe apply for an extension. She asked if I minded if I stayed behind this class with her, so she had someone with her while she talked to our lecturer. I said sure, as I wanted to ask the lecturer a question too. When the lesson finished, I stood in class looking for her. I later learned from my friends that she had hightailed it out of the room. My lecturer asked me what the commotion was earlier, and I explained that someone didn't get the assignment seeing as they haven't been in class due to a timetable issue. He told me to tell them to get in touch as they're probably going to be struggling a lot. I agreed, asked my question, and left. I later get a message from R on Instagram asking if I talked to the lecturer for her. I asked her why she left and she said, quote-unquote, my phone was dying and I needed it to see where I was going next. I didn't know what to believe really. I tell her that I mentioned to our lecturer someone was having trouble and that he requested you talk to him for some one-on-one advice. She got a bit iffy with me saying, quote, but that's what I asked you to do for me. I told her no, that's not what you asked, that I had promised to be there for you while you asked him for advice, but that I would not be doing things for you. She left me on read. R does not show up for many lessons after that. About a month and a half later, just after Christmas, I get another message from R. She was asking if she could see my portfolio right now because she wants to see if she's doing it right and for reference. I tell her no, that I don't feel comfortable doing that, and that if she really needs a reference, the marking criteria is available on the university website along with example papers, and that I wish her luck. She starts typing to respond, but I put my phone on silent and logged off of Instagram. I was done with her, annoyed and creeped by her request, but I focused on my own stuff and tried not to worry about it. This Friday, we got our marks back. I passed with flying colors, as did almost everyone in class, all except R, who failed. R messaged me on Facebook and went on a tirade, telling me that if I had just helped her out like I said I would, she wouldn't fail, and I'm to blame for why she got such low marks. I don't think I could have handled the situation any better. It's more my conscience telling me maybe I didn't do enough. Am I the a-hole? The audacity of this girl. Oh my goodness, not the a-hole. My friend had a similar situation to him last year where on a multiple choice exam, his so-called best friend harassed him via the school email for what he was answering for specific questions at the time. Highly recommend that you speak to your head of department, counselor, or dean of faculty, or whoever is in charge of your course. Would this fall on the grounds of collusion? I'm not too sure if it falls under collusion actually, but I will be speaking to my personal tutor in the morning, who just so happens to be ours as well. I'll be discussing this situation with him. The more people keep commenting and messaging, the more I realize she most likely knew she was going to fail and needed someone to blame for her mistakes. Good on you. Maybe if you still have the messages, try and show them to your personal tutor. I've seen that in comments, she's apparently done similar things to others with notes. Mention that too. Sounds like a spoiled brat who's been pampered her whole life and has never lifted a finger. This ought to be a slap in the face and a wake-up call for her. It would depend on the policies of your university, but at the university I work at, if someone gives their work to someone else to quote-unquote look at, and that person ends up copying sections of it or even rewriting it, but still clearly using the original student's argument, then both the person copying and the person who gave them the paper would be penalized. Good Lord, you most certainly are not the a-hole here. She is the a-hole. If you had shown your work, she would have copied it and then both of you would have been penalized for cheating. Source: I'm a college professor for 30 years. OP replies, you have no idea how badly I needed to hear that from someone in your position and profession. Thank you for taking the time to comment. I appreciate it. Do you think if I could get the screen grabs of her wanting my work, much could be done? I know stuff like this varies from country to country. I just hope something can be done, or would it be even worth me showing what she has said? I hope to the Lord she's not in any more of my classes. I'm not sure it would be worth it because your professor would need to prove that her intention was to cheat. Believe me, her intention was to cheat, but because she wasn't successful, your professor would not have actual proof of cheating. I don't think you have to worry about her showing up in other classes with you. She's likely already on academic probation. I may show screen grabs if he asks for them, but maybe you're right, unfortunately. Hopefully, it will be the last I see of her unless whatever deciding body says she can resist or restart. If it makes you feel any better, there's one student in every class who wants special treatment of some kind, and your professors are fully aware of this. These students ruin it for other students because they force professors to make 1,000 different rules so everything is fair for all students, and manipulative individuals like your quote-unquote pal don't get special treatment. You should check with your university's honor code. At my uni, we were guilty of cheating if we saw honor code violations and didn't report them. It quickly became he said, she said if you don't report as soon as possible, even with text evidence. Edit, update, or whatever you want to call this. Wow, thank you so much guys for your awards and comments. Ara's got wind that I posted here and knows that most, if not all of it, responded not the a-hole. She thinks that I spun the story according to my friends in her other class unit at the moment. She allegedly wants to do a post to quote-unquote set the story straight. I'm on my way to chat with my personal tutor. Thank you so much guys. A mini update. A few commenters and mates of mine DM'd me about the post that Ara made. This morning in class, while I was in my personal tutor meeting, Ara apparently spent an entirety of a 2-hour seminar on her phone typing her side. She told my friends that she bets everyone will agree with her. Obviously that wasn't the case. I'm not proud of it, but I found enjoyment in watching her get dragged. She's allegedly made an edit to her post saying that she gets that she's the a-hole and to stop, but I don't think people will. Apparently she's making threats to expose me to my family and the rest of our mates. I say good luck to her. Glad I'm not going to be in class with her unless she has another quote-unquote timetable mishap. She quite clearly is not capable or ready for university. I know that the girl in question has already beat me to the punch and posted here in the last day, but I'm willing to bet she's been very one-sided and has spun the narrative. So I'll start from the very beginning. I, a 20-year-old female, am in university and in my second year. Since the first year, I've always had some problems with my timetables and clashes, and I think some others did as well. I also live far away from campus, so being anywhere on time is hard. Because of this, I ended up losing some time in certain classes. Thankfully, lecture recordings exist. They're meant for people with disabilities, but anyone can access them. Because of that, I was able to catch up on missed time, thanks to some really helpful people giving me the notes so that I could copy them and make my own version. Anyway, on to the issue. D, a 21-year-old female, is our course rep/leader, or is a co-rep and leader. Basically, it's their responsibility to feedback if anyone is having issues to the school council and department head. I found out I had a timetable issue again during my second year of term, causing me to only start attending the topic halfway through term. I panicked once I heard how big of an assignment it was. During remission period of class, I talked to some people about what we were meant to do and when it was due. Dee suggested that I talk to my lecturer and ask for extra time. I asked if she could stay with and ask with me. She said yes, as she had some stuff she wanted to ask herself. At the end of the lecture, I noticed my phone was dying and left to charge it at my dorm. So I rushed out of class to charge my phone before my next class, as my timetable was on the phone. I assumed Dee would repeat what I said to her to our lecturer. When the day was done, I asked Dee if she did what I asked. She said she mentioned someone was struggling and that the lecturer requested I get in touch. I got annoyed at Dee for being vague and not mentioning me by name because things could have gotten done quicker, and she just didn't do what I asked. I didn't reply because I was so annoyed with Dee. She's a course rep, it's her responsibility to note when someone is not doing well. In late December, I messaged a few people in our course if I could have a look at their work and compare it to mine. They left me on red and didn't open my message. Dee tells me that she does not feel comfortable doing that, so no, and tells me quote-unquote good luck I guess. I go to type a message asking what the F is wrong with her, why she can't do me a favor, and it's the least she can do seeing as she didn't help me the first time. But she doesn't open my message and I have no way to contact her. This really upsets me as I thought she would help me. I submitted my work in January, got my work this Friday, and of course, Dee got the highest marks and posted on Facebook to her family and friends how proud she is. I messaged her privately and called her a horrible person for not helping me, and if she just helped me, I wouldn't have failed and I wouldn't be in this position. I told her when she needs help, I won't help her. She said she'll never accept my help. So, am I the a-hole? So, let me get this straight. For some reasons, you had a timetable issue. This was your responsibility, and are struggling in the topic. Again, your responsibility. Your class rep suggested that you should talk to a lecturer about it and work out a solution. You deemed it more important to charge your phone than to talk to your lecturer and now blame Dee for being vague, maybe to protect your identity, not mention you by name. Why can't you talk to the lecturer yourself? You're the a-hole here. Either buy a power bank or suffer through 3 hours without a phone. Then you can ask your classmates if you can quote-unquote reference their work to see if you are quote-unquote on track. Graded coursework. You're the a-hole. Of course I'm reluctant to share my work with you. I can look over your work and give pointers, but I'm not going to share my work so that you can copy-paste and risk me being labeled a copycat. Also, timetable clashes are something that are very easy to explain to a lecturer. It's not like having to disclose something very personal to get consideration. If your issues really stem from having timetable clashes, just go and talk to the lecturer. I've had timetable clashes every term in university, and talking to lecturers always results in getting help or additional reading material so that I can make up the lectures in my own time. It's your responsibility to deal with that. You're the a-hole. Also, no one is obligated to share their work with you, and you shouldn't be completely sharing your work at that level. Talking about subjects would be nice and helpful and might give you some ideas though. Dee is not responsible for you. Somebody commented, the first thing all of my professors say is, if you're having scheduling issues or a hard time keeping up, let me know. Here's my email, phone, and office location. And then someone replied, hopping into this thread because I'm a professor, and it is in every single piece of coursework material that students should check in with me if they have questions, scheduling conflicts, life issues. For example, caretaking for a parent, a baby at home, jobs, etc. Nicknames or pronouns to clarify any information that will affect your work and participation in class and in school. I've had students who were dealing with being stalked, the aftermath of their first major relationship breakups, and taking care of their dying grandparents. I've had students who commuted 2+ hours, who worked full-time, who were the first in their families to attend college, or who were just diagnosed with massive health issues. I've also had students who skipped meetings or turned in plagiarized work because they spent all their time partying or fighting with their partner, or, my favorite, had a manicure appointment that they just couldn't miss. Every term, there will be at least 2 to 4 students who just disappear. If you don't come to class or respond to direct emails after a couple of weeks, I can't do anything other than report your absence and note that you are possibly a retention issue. Usually, by the last week of class, to the time their incomplete or failing grades are reported, these missing students will come to me with stories of deaths in families, stresses, and too much work. But at that point in the term, I can't do much other than give incompletes and extensions if possible. I certainly can't retroactively excuse the work or give quote-unquote extra credit. I can't help you if I don't know what's going on. Plus, I went through so much of the same stuff as a student myself, so I not only understand, I have resources and suggestions that I wish I would have had back in the day. If you're in my class, I actually don't want to see you miss information and opportunities because you're too intimidated to come talk to me. Don't ghost your professors. Also, don't ask them for quote-unquote extra credit or makeup work if you've missed more than half the class. I have 75 essays and papers to mark, 3 articles of my own to edit and resubmit, 2 classes to prep, and a seminar this weekend to attend, not counting laundries and groceries. I don't have time to make individual special assignments at the last minute and then mark those too. OP, you're the a-hole. If you expect to get anything out of your classes, you have a lot of improvements in time management that you need to make. ETA, I'm too much of an old and a nerd to not add my thanks for the awards and for adding your experiences. Any day that doesn't include an insult or open threat because of my work as an academic is a treat. So guys, what did you think about this? Honestly, I definitely agree with everyone here and that OP was not the a-hole. I also thought that R, who was the other individual, seemed very entitled. I definitely got the vibe from her where she thought that she could basically get away with doing the least amount of work in class. Also, it was surprising, there were some discrepancies in her story. The first one being that first she starts off by saying that she lived very far away, that's why she had trouble getting to university or classes. And then later on, when she's about to meet the professor, she says that, oh, her phone's dead, so she needs to run back to the dorm to charge it so that she could attend the next class, which is supposedly somewhere on campus. Now, it's plausible that she could have moved during this time, but then the girl continues to be late after this incident and miss a lot of classes later on. So there are definitely holes in her story. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this story, and I'd really appreciate it if you could give it a like and subscribe if you enjoy it. Thank you everyone, have a good day.